What's up, guys? This is Beyond with Externally for High Level, and I've got a very amazing guest with us today. His name is Sean Clark, and we're going to talk about opportunities using High Level in 2024, how you, your business, your agency can get to the next level with the opportunities that High Level has to present. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in and welcome Sean. Hey, Sean, how's it going?
Good, man. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you as well. So, Sean, today wanted to bring you on and talk about some of the opportunities that High Level presents to businesses and agencies that are using High Level or potentially want to use High Level in 2024. So, with that, one of the first questions that we get asked the most, and I want to ask you, is someone who's just starting out new with High Level and they're looking at this SaaS journey and what other agencies are doing and the success they're finding. What's your one most biggest advice to them to start on the SaaSpreneur journey there?
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's really about being as simple as possible and getting out and actually making that first sale. Because I think when you haven't made your first sale, I think there's a lot of tendencies you need to have to avoid. So, like, first and foremost, don't sit behind your computer screen that long. We actually have a help article at help.gohighlevel.com. I finally wrote this just so we could kind of answer this question for people. If you go there and you search BNI or Chamber of Commerce or something, it'll show up. But the idea is really simple. Like, we find that people who focus on their local area tend to do the best, especially initially. You have a lot of home court advantage. You might know business owners already. You may know other people who know business owners. You have experience living in that community. You just understand things that are inherently just obvious to you. In fact, you probably don't even know that you know them. Versus if you try to go out across the internet and cast the wide net and try to be very industry specific, we find that it's very hard to do that. And the retention rates there are very low in general, unless you're really focused on that top 5%. So the easiest thing to do is just walk out your front door. You have this amazing sort of two-part advantage. So you get to bring the High Level platform along with you, which gives you all the software capabilities of a big software company, but you gain and have this amazing innate knowledge and the capacity to support people in a really personable and human way. So for me, it's always walk out your front door, go make a sale to a local business owner. When you're ready to scale that up, go to your Chamber of Commerce or BNI meetings and literally just start going that direction. And right there, most people can easily get to 100 clients and have a really good recurring revenue business. And you don't have to stop there. You can still go national, you can go international, you can go to outer space for all I care. But at the end of the day, what we want you to do is have that firm base of customers out of the gate. And then within that, from a feature set perspective, I always get this question like, well, which feature should I sell? And I always say, sell the least number you can to get to value. And simple examples of these things are like missed call text back. So every business in your community gets calls every single day that they miss. You have called businesses and not had them pick up the phone. If you could turn those into text conversations where you can convert those people into customers right there, that one feature is enough to spend $300 a month for every business in your town to pay you every single month. It's just that simple. Now you can add on to that. You can do web chat widgets. You can do those sorts of things, but try to keep it as simple as humanly possible to get to that initial value mark and always go up from there. And again, if you're new, it's not just about them learning, it's also about you learning. So if they're doing 3 features, that's great that you're getting this recurring revenue, you're building a sustainable customer base, but you're also learning as you go. And then when you add that 4th feature and the 5th feature, you can also charge more because you're giving more. So that is the simplest way to get out the door.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that the core features that High Level has that are at the very, very base. I mean, obviously it's got a lot of other features as well that are more advanced, but like the core 5, 6 features that are there, web chat, missed call text back, the text blasts, right? Email marketing and the review and reputation. Those are enough to drive traffic to win a business, to get them to become a SaaS subscriber. Yep. All right. And then the next question is, what are your top 5 favorite features of High Level that you would recommend and are easy to sell to businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the way to think about it, first and foremost, is, what's your objective? Your objective is to create value for that business as fast as possible. So let's start there. So from there, I think what most people don't understand is what they already have that they're missing. So the way I would think about this is every single business that is out there today, even if you're just getting started, you create a Google business profile, that sort of thing, you're going to start to have immediate traffic of some kind. The most challenging part for most businesses is capturing that traffic and turning it into an actual customer. So before you go down some expensive route like running ads or something like that, really let's think about the features that allow you to capture what's already coming through the door. And as an agency or a SaaSpreneur, putting your name on it and saying, I got you that. So I would do missed call text back, I would do the Google Business Profile Chat, which basically means, and in fact, they've just recently expanded this to the desktop, which is, I knew they were going to do it. It's awesome. So it used to be that on your phone, you'd have to hit a chat widget, this and that. You can now do it on the desktop. So if you Google a business and they have chat enabled, you can literally hit chat right there and chat on the desktop. It totally magnifies the ability to do this across. So Google Business Chat is awesome. Missed call, text back, a chat widget on the website is very cool. Something simple like text to pay. You can show them how you can send out a link and actually get them to pay. I know my own dentist does this, which is fantastic. That way it makes it easy for me to pay where I'm at using my existing payment methods. That sort of thing is very, very simple. Obviously, if they have a form on the website, hooking the form up so that it's very easy to send that form information inside HighLevel. Depending on also then the next big thing for almost everybody is the calendar booking. So most businesses, the way they go from lead to customer, they pass through a calendar booking. We have a Calendly replacement, a full scheduling and booking system. So these are the simple features and it kind of in that order that I would go through. But again, if you can just do things like capture missed calls, capture website leads that are not being converted, capture Google Business Chat, those sorts of things. Those are the simple, easy places to start where you can create a lot of value very quickly without additional expense to the business.
Fantastic. Thank you for going through that. The next question up is who should start a SaaS business using HighLevel, and perhaps who is it not for if there is anyone that it may not be a best fit?
Sure. I mean, here's the thing. We've been working with agencies for a really long time, and we saw very early on that the business model was maybe the biggest downside to an agency. And why is that, right? It's because most of the time they would sort of say, I do website design, or I run ads, or I do this or that. But really, when they're saying that, well, it sounds very compartmentalized as a service. It actually breaks out to be this very custom, bespoke sort of thing. So think about it like, I sell cars, but every single car is unique, and I start from scratch, and and then by the way, once it's done and I get handed over the keys, I'm actually constantly on the hook to update it and maintain it and change things on it. It becomes sort of this hamster wheel that people got on, where they just basically would get up to 5 clients and stay there. And it was a miserable existence for most people. And so fundamentally, what we are doing here is saying, listen, let's break out of this model. Let's create something that's truly recurring, that's truly not customized, that's very static, and you're able to create boxed products. Because I always try to tell people, like, look actually at cars, right? Yeah, you can go out and buy a particular vehicle and a particular model and this and that, but the number of variations there are incredibly limited. And that's because that's how those companies are able to scale. We all drive around in, the same car as hopefully, for the manufacturers, hundreds of thousands of other people. And that's exactly how they're able to create a product. You need to do the same thing. You need to productize, and in this case, productize your SaaS offering, not productize your service. I've heard this a lot. That's nice and all, but this is really selling a true, actual, tangible product. And what you're really doing is you're adding the service on top of it to help make it easy to set up and make it easy to scale and make it easy to continue on with and so forth and so on. But the product itself isn't something that you're customizing all the time. You're certainly not building from scratch all the time, and you're able to stamp out all the time. So that's the model that we're going for. And really, when you're thinking about who should do this or not do this, anybody who is trying to start a business, anybody who's trying to scale an agency, this is the model you should use. This is no longer something that we're guessing on. The people that go to this model, it's very simple. They make a lot more money. They have a lot less churn. They scale their businesses to heights that they'd never imagined possible. And the people who stick just to the sort of age-old sort of service model, they're still stuck in the hamster wheel, and you got to break out.
Has there been some profitable exits with the SaaS model as well?
Yeah, so absolutely. And so this is the fun part about what I get to do now is, so first and foremost, the way we built HighLevel is you don't have to call me and tell me you're going to exit. You don't have to call and ask my permission. You don't have to let me know at all. It can just happen. And so what's cool about it is, well, I can tell you that I've heard personally from 10 people that have had multi-million-dollar exits now. Some have raised funds, some have sold outright, and everything in between. I can tell you that I'm proud to say there's a multitude more who I don't know about, never will, because they didn't have to call me. And that could be you too. There's really no reason why you can't do this. There's a huge world out there. And we're honestly just getting started in this.
Fantastic. And what would you say, a SaaS company is sort of valued at? What sort of range, what sort of multiple?
Sure. So I would say it's going to be, it can be anywhere between 8 and 12 times. And why it's such a big range is, so the biggest thing you want to focus on is churn. Churn is going to be your biggest, predictability is probably the most important thing, followed by churn. People want to see a very predictably growing business. They want to see low churn. And then, on the higher ends, we've seen some exits that were strategic in nature. So it all depends on who you end up selling to and how you do it. And there's a multitude of buyers in this world. So everybody's going to look at things a little bit differently, but either way, there is no world in which you are not going to sell for a higher multiple than you could ever sell in a service business. Because in a service business, you're looking at not a revenue multiple, but what they call an EBITDA multiple, but think about it almost as a net income multiple. So they're going to take your revenue, they can take all your expenses out, and they're going to give you a multiple based on the profit margin. Here, you're going to be looking at a revenue multiple because it's a growth business. It is powered by software. It is not powered by labor. And so they're not going to be as keen to deduct those costs because they're going to realize there's economies of scale here. As you get bigger, you won't need nearly as many people for the next customer that you add. Versus service business is quite the opposite. If you really want to get a big service business, you're going to have an army of people, and most people don't love investing in those businesses because they tend to be, mildly profitable at best, very unscalable, and very slow growing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So where is HighLevel headed next?
Yeah. So I am proud to say that I recently went on Built With, and we are now the third largest marketing automation platform in the world. And it's pretty amazing. Now, that is a testament, by the way, not to us, but to our customers. And it really proves the point that we can go anywhere, and we shall. So this year, I think by the end of this year, we will easily be the largest marketing platform in the world. But our mission doesn't stop there. Our goal is to create an end-to-end solution for businesses. And so there are a couple of items still to drop on the marketing side that we'll get into. But really, I think as we move through the year, the idea is we want to go from capture to close to operate. So the idea is we have custom objects coming out here this quarter, and custom objects will start off as a very niche feature for most people. But the way to think about this is simple. When you have a customer who comes in from an industry, let's say I'm a car dealer, and I walk into a CRM, and what I'm going to see contacts and companies. But where are my cars? I sell cars, right? Custom objects allow you to create cars for your customers. So now your customers can come in and operate the car object inside so you want to create a new car, and you want to assign it to a person who's thinking about buying it, or assign it to a finance agreement or something like that, or an invoice. You can do all of those things. You can really customize the platform around the industries that you're serving. And then and this is a great example of how we're going to make this sort of more of like a day-to-day operations system for people. And these will be things like jobs for people who are in home services. And so we're going to continue to move this more and more in that direction. And as we move later into the year, I think you might start seeing things like employee time tracking, and who knows, something crazy like payroll might come out. We have a big POS build out that's happening right now on mobile, so that if you have people who operate physical stores, you can actually we just came out with inventory, so they can start putting in their inventory and selling their inventory both digitally and in store. So lots and lots and lots of that. The idea here is we're going to continue now to tunnel out in the operational directions of different types of businesses. So no matter which business you serve, you can first and foremost do what they all want, which is get them more customers. But you can bring it all the way through to operating the day-to-day of their businesses, so you can capture both ends of the spectrum. So for us, that's really the focus this year for HighLevel.
Yeah, that's cool. Operation, tying a customer in where they're able to operate their business out of HighLevel is you're never going away after that. That's a secure SaaS subscription from that customer that point onwards. They may fire a marketing company, but they're not going to fire their business operations software.
Exactly, precisely. And you'll see this we just recently came out with full IVR functionality, and this was a huge step for us because now you can do things like, thank you for calling Bob's Towing, press 1 for sales, press 2 for service. And then you can ring different groups of people and route calls differently and this and that. And, today, and then, we'll eventually do things like, we'll probably end up with hard phone support. So you can put phones on desks for old school businesses who need that, right? So just on and on, we'll start to really, again, it's just about pushing out enhancements so that, when your customer said, I want it like this, I might say, hard phones are dead, who wants a hard phone? But when your customer says, listen, it's a make or break for me to have a hard phone, we'll give it to them. Or on the payment side, we're opening it up so that by the end of this quarter, all payment gateways will be accepted. Any payment gateway that wants to come in can, because when your customer says, well, I've been using Wells Fargo payments for 30 years, you're like, no problem. We can accept Wells Fargo payments or Square Pay or Upside Down Pay or Triangle Pay or whatever it's called. No problem. So again, you're not fighting that fight. You're saying, no problem, we can bring all of that in. and really try to make it seamless for them to interoperate with the system using the things that they're used to without having to sort of reposition or get them to make a change and create friction.
Wow, that's phenomenal. I heard you say something about POSs early on as well.
Yeah.
So can we potentially expect down the road that one day there's a replacement of like a toast or something as
Oh,
well?
absolutely. 100%. That's what the team's working on right now. So we already have tap to pay in the mobile app. So you can already, well, I mean, for the average small business owner, walk out to a home or a farmer's market or whatever, do the Square thing, type the amount and tap the card on the phone, or do phone to phone. We're also adding in, we're going to add physical readers in because the iPads don't support that yet, but the phones do, but we'll have the physical readers so you can kind of replace that. Again, we have inventory now, so you can start to actually add in stuff, and we'll continue to grow this out more and more, like you said, like a Toast or a Square or a Shopify sort of system. And then, of course, not to leave Shopify out, we are also going hard on the e-com side. Very excited about that. We have the ability now to replace both Klaviyo sort of on the sort of e-com marketing side, and then Shopify on the e-com side. And we'll continue to grow that out this year, just so that either, whether or not you currently work with Shopify merchants, we'll do a product integration this quarter so that you can replace all of their marketing stuff, and then hopefully over time grow into replacing Shopify directly. And also for the people who are meeting brand new merchants who haven't made a decision yet, you can be their platform for e-com instead of having to send them out of house for that. So again, a full 360-degree sort of business operations platform that works both offline as well as online for selling physical and digital goods for that matter.
That's fantastic. I love everything you're saying and where things are headed. And we've experienced that in the past several years or so, from where it first started and how many new items that have been added on that have solved a lot of problems for businesses. So thank you for doing all that.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So next up is, how can HighLevel help a business grow or an agency grow?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who you are as an agency. There's generally two types. In the past, if you're a local established agency, I always think of HighLevel as being something to help expand your wallet, because a lot of local agencies, they didn't traditionally have a lot of churn issues, but they would sort of say, I sold marketing to the plumber or the lawyer, the doctor, dentist. So now what? This is really a way to expand the share of wallet and say, oh, I can also offer you all these software products that you need anyways. So that's the local agency sort of angle there. And then if you're not a local agency, it's really about becoming what we call a SaaSpreneur, which is really taking SaaS and making it your mainstay product, your foot in the door, because it's cheaper than your existing services. And it really either is something that is going to, again, be the way that you expand your business, grow your business, or maybe the way you shift your business, because we've had people go completely out of custom services. We've had people cohabitate them. We sort of try to give you all the options in the world. And again, it doesn't matter which market you're targeting. So, like, for example, we have a full course creation option and a community option. So if you said, look, I deal with coaches and course creators, no problem. We have all of that. And in fact, I'm really proud to say our community offering is top notch. And we're going to have something that I have only seen in one other company, and it's ripping expensive. We're going to have it a lot less expensive, which is a white label true mobile app that you can download from the app stores for course takers. So if you serve brand builders or you serve course creators, they can have their own mobile course and community app that their course takers can take with them on the road and actually consume all that content, but it's all white label. So I think that's going to be very appealing for everybody. And again, so depending on who you serve, we have a set of software solutions that you can put in place and create a monthly recurring subscription out of, regardless of who your customer is.
Fantastic. Now, we get this question from time to time, and I want to ask you and take your take on it. So the question is that HighLevel is you can easily white label HighLevel and sell it under your own brand to the local businesses that may need the product or the service. But there's also, several thousand other high-level agencies that are doing the same thing, right? So how am I competing against everyone? How am I setting myself different and apart from all of those?
Yeah, sure. So there's lots of ways you could do this, right? But here's what's really interesting is you don't actually really have to do that much if you don't want to. So if all you said is, look, I live in XYZ city state, and I'm always going to be there to support you. That one thing, that promise right there is worth so much more than people give it credit for. because you have to realize how people operate with software companies today. They get cold calls and cold emails and they get beat to death and they finally make a purchase, and then the salesperson evaporates and they're putting an 800 number where they're going to wait for 40 minutes to talk to someone who doesn't really understand their business and isn't really there to help them. And that's the traditional sort of experience that most people go through. So if you're willing to actually walk through my front door and hold my hand and help me, that's incredible, right? That right there will set you apart from every other software company out there, and including other high-level agencies. Now, you can go deeper, right? You can say like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to help create generic templates for social media, for email, for funnels, things that I'm going to update on a regular basis. So that way, not only do you have a subscription with me, but you have all the assets and the content that you need to actually continue to promote your business throughout the year. And I'm going to make those things for you, because that's actually still kind of hard. And while you have to post on social media, how do you do that? So if I can inject those things into your account, now you have even more value. So it is really just value stacking, to be honest, but it's a one-to-many approach. So you're creating that social media post one time and you're pushing it out to every single one of your clients, and even people who serve a variety of types of businesses. It's amazing, because if you think about it, you go into any public place like a grocery store and you look at the magazines that are at the checkout aisle, those are generic magazines, okay? They got to appeal to a lot of people. So you can create social media posts and email marketing materials and all kinds of things that are super valuable and still get generic to the people in the community or to all of the customers that those businesses serve. So you're not going to have to do something that's niche specific. And in fact, I would argue that it's probably not even worth your time to do that, because it's really about keeping top of mind with those customers. In-depth plumbing articles are not very interesting to 99.9% of the population. So why bother? At the end of the day, it's really that the plumber sent you something that's just sort of interesting or useful relative to the season, or relative to, something that is on all of our minds, like it's tax time or whatever, right? Things that really just speak to their rough clientele, like home ownership, like here are 10 things you need to do to get your home ready for winter. So like these types of assets really help enhance value and are honestly very inexpensive for an agency to create, because it's a one-to-many approach.
Yeah, and I think another thing you guys have built right into it is that there's hundreds of features, so you can slice it in many different ways. You can package it in many different ways, and there's also third-party integration with some of the softwares that are being built on top of HighLevel these days.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Really well.
Our apps market is really big and really important to us. I mean, we've literally, I can tell you, we've invested countless amounts of dollars, and we'll continue to, into making it a first-class developer marketplace, because what we also know is that our model is about harnessing the creativity of the many, not for us to try to be selfish and do it all ourselves, because we are not going to be experts at everything. So that apps market is an incredible asset and resource, not just to us, but all our customers. We also have certified partners now that can help people actually do things, which is really cool. So lots and lots and lots and lots of resources as you move through your journey to help you, regardless of what your needs may be. You don't always have to come to HighLevel. You can always work with all of these great members in our community who have really tangible things that you can put in place to fix and to change and upgrade and to create different value for your clients. So I totally agree with that.
Fantastic. So would you say that HighLevel has, or a business that's using HighLevel has a little bit of an unfair advantage over a business that is not? They may be using some of the other, bunch of other softwares to kind of put them together.
Yeah, easily, because I still think, the vast majority of businesses are formed by people who understand how to do the thing that they offer. But if you look at the challenge, really connecting the customer to the expert in the business, it's almost all about communication and simplification of giving that consumer enough information to make a purchase decision, making it super easy for them to make a purchase decision, or at least to get them down the funnel to the point where they can get connected with that sort of expert, so that they can see that that's the right choice. But if you look at human behavior, it hasn't changed radically in the last 1,000 or so years. Fundamentally, we give our business to the people who get to us faster, who pay attention to us to the most, and give us the lowest path of friction to really just checking the box. Because while your small business you serve may really love plumbing or being a lawyer or being a dentist, the person on the other end, that's just one of the many things that got to get done that day. And the easier you make it and the faster I can get it done, the most likely you are to get the sale. So it's truly about using the automations, using all of the platform features up front to make that process simple. And for the vast majority of businesses, you will crush it right there, and they'll grow significantly from those steps.
Fantastic. And I think, another big advantage is instead of, using several different 10, 15, 7, whatever number of different softwares and trying to integrate them all together, the ease of having your data all live in one place, right? All your contacts, their emails, their phone numbers, and association of, what they've bought, what opt-ins they've gone through, what the journey that contact has taken, right? Having all that in one place, that data, we were talking about data earlier, so that data is super valuable for a business depending on how they use it.
Yeah, totally agree. I think, the old adage used to be, go buy the best in class of that particular vertical or that particular need. And I do think there was a time for that, to be honest. I think there was a time when those products were evolving so rapidly that you really did need to sort of try to string it all together. But those days are long gone. At this point, all the sort of innovation curve around CRMs and form builders and calendar tools and this and that is very, very, very low. And as a result, you can buy an all-in-one platform like HighLevel, and you can get first class, sort of best in class experiences around those feature sets without having to fear like, oh, you're missing out on some big new innovation around that one particular feature. It just doesn't work like that anymore. The world has moved on. There's certainly other places where that's still happening, but in the world of like of CRM and marketing automation and those sorts of things, that ship has sailed. And now, like you said, the power is in being able to know, hey, okay, that lead came from this ad, landed on this page, took this action, booked this appointment, and then being able to automate that flow. So as they're moving through the journey, if they fall off someplace or they take a left instead of a right, you can make sure that you're meeting them with the right information based on that entire journey and not trying to string it all together. Because if you've ever tried that, it never works right. It breaks all the time. Your conversion rates suffer. And all of a sudden, you might as well not have brought the lead into the system anyways. You've just wasted a lot of money and a lot of time. So having one system to house all that information, you get huge value from that.
Yeah, and plus, you don't have to remember passwords to 20 different logins to log in and out of to connect the dots.
That's true. I mean, the whole idea of like a single login system just never took off. I mean, you'll have the logins with Facebooks and the logins with Googles, and those will exist in some products, but not others. And then even though they're there, it doesn't mean that your data transfers and your logins don't transfer. And, in fact, if anything, if we look at, I think, like if you look at like the iPhone versus Android thing, I'm a recent convert over back. I try Apple out every couple of years, and I think I'm finally going to stick. And I can see the power of it, because it may or may not be that like that one particular feature is as great as maybe it was on Android, but the power of the fact that it's all tied together. So when I log in over here, it automatically shares over there. It just overwhelms that one spot experience. And I think that's the value that you get out of that platform. I think we're starting to see that holistically across CRM and marketing automation and those sorts of fields. It's the fact that, yeah, maybe there's that one feature that's slightly better than this one other app, but in concert with everything else, it's way better to have one app than have 6 or 7 apps.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Sean, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you on here to share all the wisdom. Any last advice for the viewers?
I would just say, if you haven't started, go get started. It is a great time to do it. Every single business needs this software. They need your help to make it happen. And the businesses that don't implement and adopt this stuff are going to fail over time. And if you've seen the way AI is coming into the picture now, we have tons of AI and HighLevel, you'll see this. But, I was super impressed. We are now using AI on our own website. And I had an example from last week where someone went from, hey, I'm interested and I have some questions, all the way to sign up for a free trial. And it was the AI bot that ran the whole conversation. And we can easily do that for you. You can do this for your clients. It's an incredible time to really get into this field.
It most definitely is. Most definitely is. Thank you, Sean. And thanks everyone for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Want to learn Go High Level in a structured format? Check out the GHLacademy.com by Extendly. We guarantee to save you 6 months of wasted subscription costs for HighLevel. Just visit the GHLacademy.com.